having fun. The grands are coming in a couple of weeks, and I've been trying to think of fun things to do with a couple of little boys. And during the pandemic, our usual is going to be a little less usual. So one of the things I was thinking would be really fun to do with them was going to be to make some ice cream sandwiches. You know, once I get started thinking about something, then I usually end up going about 3 steps the other direction. So I thought I would make some little bit more adult ice cream sandwiches today. They're going to be a crispy oatmeal cookie that's really pretty fabulous on their own. And we're going to fill it with a bourbon ice cream with spiced pecans. I am a really firm believer in using a kitchen scale. This is mine. It is about $23 on King Arthur flour, or you can find it anywhere. It's going to keep everything so that you really do the recipe the way that it's meant to be done. And the spiced pecans and the ice cream are both from David Leibowitz's book, The Perfect Scoop. He's my go-to ice cream dessert guy. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with 200 grams of pecans. Once you put on your bowl, you zero it out so that you get, and now I've got 214, 4, and exactly 200 grams. So we're going to start off there. Now we need an egg white. And get that separated out. Don't need the yolk or the shell, so we're going to toss that. Now that we've got our egg white, you know, we all have things in our kitchen we just can't part with. This is one. It's just a great little twist. What I want to do here is get the egg whites so that they're kind of bubbly and they're not clumpy. So we just want to break those down so that they're going to be able to coat the pecans. So we're going to toss those in a bigger bowl. We're going to do 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and basically light brown sugar. And I'm going to pack it very loosely. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon ground cloves. We're going to put in some black pepper and salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. So we're going to have sweet and savory and all kinds of good flavors going on here. We've got our spices and our eggs and brown sugar. We're going to give those a quick stir. Now we need a teaspoon of vanilla. I've got Mexican vanilla paste. I just like the way that vanilla paste works. And in something like this, I think it'll be the right thing. Do 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then a few grinds of pepper. And that's going to be the base. So I have a feeling with pecans and a little time in the oven, this kitchen will start to smell rather wonderful again. So David says to spray a sheet pan. I've gotten to the point now I just don't do that anymore. I love my Silpats, and if you don't have baking mats, it is one thing I would suggest going out and getting. They're fairly expensive. I've got a pair that I've probably had for 15 or 20 years. So our pecans are nicely coated. We're going to temp them on this, so we will see what we get in about 30 minutes. We're going to spread these out, and I have a feeling they're going to be pretty okay. Okay, so pecans are done. They're in a little bowl hanging out, and so it's time to make the puddings. In all fairness, I have made the ice cream base, and it is absolutely remarkable. So if you all want to do the homemade ice cream, give me a call. I may do another video on it. It's a little bit more labor intensive, but it is really, really remarkable. Let's get on to making the cookies. And the cookies are crispy oatmeal cookie that just is a dynamite base for ice cream sandwiches. So we're going to start off with a cup of flour, and then we've got 3/4 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So we're just going to pop that in and give it a quick whisk to incorporate that. Now, as most cookies start off, we're going to do butter and sugar. And we need 14 tablespoons of butter. So essentially, I'm going to whack off 2 tablespoons here and just put the rest in. Softened butter is pretty much the only way to go. And then we've got a cup of white sugar and I believe 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. And then we're going to get that nice and creamy. And then we'll start adding on other ingredients, and we should have cookies in just a couple moments. So we'll get this going. Okay, we're nice fluffy up, scrape down the sides. So now we're going to add just 1 egg. And I will put it just in a little bowl just to make sure I don't get any shell in, because I hate fishing out shells. And we're going to dump that in and blend it for about another 30 seconds just to get it nicely incorporated. And now we'll do about a teaspoon of vanilla. And vanilla is one of those things, if you happen to get a little more in than that, all the better. So I'm going to scrape it down and give it one more whir before we start adding the flour and the rest of the ingredients. And this is really nice and fluffy at this stage. So we're going to stick it on low and then just incorporate the flour and the baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt. And that's the salt that I forgot to add in before, so we'll make it now. Okay, now that we're combined, these are wonderful, wonderful cookies, but they come together so quickly, it is really fabulous. And we've got 2½ cups of rolled oats. So we're just going to dump in and fold just to get them all in there. And that's it for the cookies. I now have 2 cookie sheets with Silpats on them, and a wonderful, this is about a 1 tablespoon scoop that's going to make just kind of perfect size cookies. And if you don't have a scoop, a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons will work out just fine. We're all set and ready for the oven. I'm going to pop them in. They really need to go one at a time in the middle of a 350 oven. So for about 15 minutes each. The cookies are baked. They're out doing everything. The ice cream is pretty much made, so it's about time to chop the pecans, toss them in the ice cream, and put it all in the freezer. And then we just have to put things together. So, because it is summertime and it's so hot, the ice cream is nicely churned, and I don't want it to melt, so I put a bowl in an ice bath. When I go to mix it, hopefully we won't lose a lot of that chill and the lovely air that's been beaten into this. If you are doing it with Bluebell, liquid or whatever vanilla you choose. I don't see any reason why not to do that. It's going to cut your time way down. That should do it. So we're just going to put these in and fold them in here. And then I'll put it in a container to chill up overnight. And then in the morning, I'll get everything put together. The joy of doing this is you can just do little bits here and little bits there. This is not a recipe you need to do everything at the same time. If you were to do it all at once, it may take a while. If not, it's just a little chunk of time here and a little chunk of time there. And it's gonna be pretty worthwhile. So I'm gonna go pop this in the freezer, and I will see you all in the morning when we put it together, and we'll have it. I would normally do this for a dinner party because there's something kind of fun about ice cream sandwiches, and I think it's kind of fun to have something kind of festive and a little bit different than your normal dinner party fare. So I will see you all in the morning when the ice cream is chilled and we're ready to pull things together. So it's the next day. Ice cream is made, cookies are made. Let's put it together. Because this ice cream has booze in it, it is softer than it normally would be. Normally, I would tell you to take it out for 15 minutes and let it cool off, let it soften. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna start putting some ice cream sandwiches together, and then I'm gonna pop them in the freezer and we'll get it done. So obviously, just cut sides together. These are going to be rather gorgeous. So when the kids come, what I'm going to do is the boys and I will make probably cookies and cream ice cream for Patrick and salted caramel for Willem. We'll do these same cookies, and then we're going to roll them. And we may roll some in sprinkles. We may roll some in mini chocolate chips. And if anybody's into coconut, I am definitely a coconut person. We may do that. So I'm going to finish doing these and pop them in the freezer, and I'll be back in a few minutes to do something else. There are some times you just have to be fast, and this is one of them. I have melted 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate and 4 ounces of bittersweet. I wanted it right in between the two. And I've refrozen the ice cream sandwiches, and I'm going to give them a little roll. I have frozen the plate as well as the sheet pan so that I'm trying to keep these little babies just as cold as I can. But are those about the best looking things you ever saw? So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you make them, and I hope you love them. Bring on the Bluebell, a little bourbon, and have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. We'll do it again. Bye.